Okay, thank you very much. Let's get started. Today is the March 9th. March 9th. Yeah, correct. March 9th. This is the stand-up for the decomposition project stakeholders. So critical updates since last time from sharding group. The development team actually finished all the phase 4 issues. So we are clear, and we closed the 73 issues and migrated dozens of the foreign keys. So development work is now out of the woods of phase 4, and also we get more volunteers from multiple functional groups, including the both back and the front end developers, and UX and tech writers, and also QE. To try out the multiple databases in GDK, and a few issues were discovered, but nothing seems blocking. So we are good on track to get our development tooling environment ready for the production or for the development work after the database is decomposed in the production. Yeah, that's the sharding group update. And from ops team, they have one phase 6, one phase 7 issue. Both looks on track. So Cheryl provided async update. And on the dev side, the dev section side, there is one phase 6 issue, and just the one, and I believe is done by the database team now. I'm just double checking that issue can be closed. So that's the development update. Okay, over to you for the infrastructure update.
For the infrastructure, in terms of the pending tasks that were unblocked by the DB restart, we have the ongoing work restoring the pipeline and then working on the replicas. So Nathan, just from our previous sync that we came from, mentioned that those ones are ongoing and on the current priorities.
Cool, thank you. Is there anything we can help, the developers can help?
Nothing that we are aware of right now, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, the blockers, basically we have been working on this, so just reiteration that this one is a blocker of turning the phase 3 feature flag on in production. So thank you very much for working on that. And, any questions about this? Okay, then move on to the last item, number 5. There is an update. So can just help you to understand the design of the phases. So typically, we design the phases. What each phase there will be a staging deployment and production deployment. And for the staging deployment, it happens first. Then after the deployment is done, we stage that or bake the thing in staging environment for 1 week, then move on to production deployment, then bake the code in production environment for 2 weeks. So each stage, if we follow the plan, each stage, each phase will be 3 weeks long. So that's 1 week in staging, 2 weeks in production. That will run through from phase 1 through phase 4. So now we are in phase 3, in the middle of phase 3. And that's the design of the phases. So then I just code out the remaining tasks here in the order of the execution sequence. So of course, we are still working on this final tuning or configuration of the CI cluster in production. After that, we need to turn on the phase 3 deployment feature flag. So just turn on phase 3 in production. That's the next step after the configuration is done. Then phase 4, once phase 3 production is deployed, we move on to phase 4 staging deployment. And that will we will run that for 1 week, then move on to phase 4 production deployment. So there are issues for each step. And then for phase 5 and 6, they're mostly testing and discover the gaps in both product and deployment side or infrastructure side. Anything can happen. So those are basically testing. So there will be no major deployment tasks here, but we do expect that there will be things we discover, then need to make sure that we fill the gaps. So that is phase 5 and 6 and 7. That's the final step. We totally turn on the, completely turn on the CI cluster, and all the read write of CI will be into that cluster. And of course, to get that phase turned on, we need all the things in place, configurations of the system, and monitoring facilities and failure handling mechanisms, as we are working on the disaster recovery discussion now. And also, we shall expect a downtime window there, because that why the downtime is described in phase 5, because we need to block the write to the main database, sync data to the CI cluster, then directed all the write to the CI cluster. So that step we require downtime.
Right. Thank you
Yeah.
for walking through that. We still have Nathan and Jose as the main DRIs on the infrastructure side in terms of stable counterpart for this. But based on how we continue progressing, and if we have maybe someone out, we do have Marcel and Byron who might come in, and that will mean we have to pause the OS upgrade for them to be able to focus on this one. But however, in the meantime, in an effort to try and also cover some ground, I do have Rehab and Anthony working on the phase 3 production deployment. So what they're doing is that they're not actually rolling that one out, but preparing all the MRs that need to be ready, so that once the blocker is done, then we're also good to proceed with the other phase as well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much for getting those MRs in place. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken. And you have your mind around this a lot better than I do, but I just wanted to note that I've also got Raphael available to help should we need more DB or EIs.
That's perfect.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's all the update. So we still have like 2 months away from the phase 7, but for the downtime window, probably we can think about that when as we move closer, we will have a better view of what date that could be. But of course, we need to pick a low traffic time, and this switch will be also highly risky. So we want to be sure all the people are available for the downtime and do the final switch. Thank you.
John, do you for the final switch, and apologies, I will admit I was doing 2 different things at once right now, but for the final switch, is it envisioned that will be, we will take a downtime window for that? And is when you're talking about the risk, are you envisioning that even within a downtime window, it's still going to be a risky change, or are you thinking that the risk is mainly around the fact that we'll need downtime or maybe we'll try to avoid that or whatever, but I don't know that we need to. It's fine for us to have downtime as long as we schedule it.
Yeah, the risk is not about the downtime. The risk is really about this decomposed database as a whole. Okay. But we are trying to mitigate that and reduce the risk in all the testing. So phase 5 and phase 6 basically is multiple dry runs of the downtime and the sync data, so that we make sure that we know everything from there and get all the tooling ready to make sure that it goes as smooth as possible. But overall, this project, is high risk.
Okay, so the concern, is it fair to say that the concern there is that even with all of, the phase testing and everything, we could get to the final change, and either during that or after that, we could, there's just the awareness that we could discover kind of unknown unknowns that
Correct.
haven't come up. Okay, all right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I get, yeah, it's obviously having this running fully in production versus any kind of test we could do beforehand is going to be different.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We will do our best in testing, and the phase 5, phase 6, we plan to test on a 50K environment to simulate the traffic.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much.